I've lost over 70 pounds with ChatGPT running my life, but every time I post a video, I get comments like, "You're doing your diet all wrong. Try intermittent fasting or try the carnivore diet." So with that in mind, I asked AI to research all the scientific literature, not opinions, and come back and tell me what the best diet actually is. Then I lived each diet. At the end, ChatGPT is going to tell me whether I've been on the right track or whether I should change my diet. I've lost over 73 pounds with ChatGPT, but it hasn't always been that easy. For pretty much most of my life, it would be the same pattern. Start a diet, hunger levels would just get out of control, and then I'd fall off the wagon. I have tried them all so much that I don't even probably remember all the diets I've been on. Low carb, low calorie, low fat. None of them worked until I found ChatGPT. And let's face it, I'm not alone. There is a hell of a lot of conflicting advice out there. Every influencer, every friend, and every study has their own favorite diet. But ChatGPT changed everything for me. When I handed my life over to it, I suddenly lost 73 pounds with what seemed like very little effort. Even though it had helped me lose 73 pounds, I'd never asked AI to research every study that's ever been done in the scientific literature and then come back and tell me what is actually the best diet. So I asked ChatGPT to ignore opinions and ignore influencers and actually look into the scientific research and come back and give me the best diet. What is the best diet for weight loss? And what is the best diet for health? So the first diet I asked ChatGPT to choose was simple. What's the fastest way a human can lose weight according to actual science? Not opinions and not untested diets. It had to be researched, evidence-based, and safe enough to actually attempt.
Produces the largest average weight loss in clinical trials. The clear winner is
And the answer it came back with was the very low calorie diet, around 800 calories a day from soups and shakes. On paper, VLCDs produced the biggest, fastest weight loss we've ever seen in clinical trials. But here's the twist. To say ChatGPT had minor reservations on me doing this diet would be a massive understatement.
So here's the thing. I am hesitant. Upon reflection, I don't want to be promoting unsafe practices. An 800 calorie diet will obviously lose the most weight because it's just so low on calories, but I feel like it's just introducing an element of kind of disordered eating, which I don't want to do and I don't want to promote and I don't want to be seen promoting.
So it was back to the drawing board. This time, ChatGPT chose a very specific combination. The high protein, low GI diet at around 1800 calories a day. That's 200 calories less than I am currently on. When you push your protein above 50% of your calories, researchers say you enter into something called the protein leverage effect. Of all the macros, your brain prioritizes protein above everything else, so when it gets enough, your hunger plummets. In the studies, the high protein groups consumed 400 less calories and they didn't even know that they were doing it. And what that means is you can run a bigger calorie deficit and not feel like you're starving the whole time. A high protein diet also makes your body burn off fat and it doesn't burn off muscle, which is the opposite of nearly every other diet, which tends to burn off both fat and a lot of muscle at the same time. Next was the low glycemic carbs. This isn't keto, it's not low carb, but it's definitely not high carb. It's kind of the middle zone where you're having around 100 to 120 grams of carbs a day, and it flattens that sugar curve into your bloodstream. Why does that matter? Because a flat glucose blood curve equals less hunger. No dips, no cravings, lots of energy. And then the third factor was the 1800 calories. 200 calories than I normally do. It's a pretty aggressive calorie estimate for someone my size, but because we're doing those two things, we can do that without feeling hungry. Time to get my shopping for my diet. So I asked ChatGPT to come up with a shopping list, and then I went online and I ordered it.
Okay, here's the big protein, low glycemic food items I got. We've got some onions, apples, green beans, some pears, broccoli, low carb wraps, some low fat ground beef, some chicken mince, and some chicken. And then we've got some other beans, salsa, protein yogurt, cottage cheese, and more beans. It's a lot of protein there.
It was time to make my first high protein meal. Arthur told me to combine cottage cheese with scrambled eggs, which I wasn't too sure about, but I did it anyway.
Ooh, I was not convinced that cottage cheese and eggs would go together in a wrap, but once again, Arthur proved me wrong. I had my birthday over the weekend. Let me tell you, there was a few celebrations. I had about 3 dinners, all of which I overate at, so things haven't been great for the last couple of weeks. As you will know from you watch my last video, and I finally get back on track and then I have 3 birthday dinners. So I am definitely more than ready though to get back into it.
So we've hit the first stumbling block. I asked if I could have a protein shake and he was like, yes. It's like, yes, good way to get protein. He's like, with water. I was like, what? I usually have it with light milk. And he's like, with water, you got to reduce the fat down apparently. It's not the same without milk. Apparently milk has too much carbs and too much fat. So I have to have it with water. And I wasn't that happy about it. I told him to f*** off.
Yeah, I found a room that lights up just because I decided to show people who hype my ridiculous stories like their tales everybody should know. They cheer like I'm headlining something, even when I feel
I've just met up with Jack, my nephew, because we're doing a run. But he's standing over there because I've told him he can't be in my videos anymore. He's over there looking all depressed. I've told him because he can't be in my videos anymore because whenever he's in my videos, my views tank. Like they're always like really low when he's in them. So I said, you can't be in my videos anymore because like you'll just tank my views, you know? The only way I can see him being in my videos again more is like maybe if some people subbed, because if people sub in this video, then I'll know that they want him. So yeah, I guess that's like the only thing that you can do to get him back is sub. Oi, shall we go? Look at him, he's so depressed.
Why does no one like him?
I don't know, Jack. I don't know why no one likes you.
I made me and Jack dinner. I had 300 grams of chicken and 3 cups of veggies. I had all my marks for the diet that day. The true test was whether I was going to be hungry. I was starting to realize just how different this diet actually was, especially just how low in carbs it was.
Are you thinking you're going to keep this as your new diet?
Well, it's up to Arthur, to be honest. I could do it. It's a bit weird not having the fat. Like, it's really lower carb than what I'm used to. Like, he was like, you can have half a wrap for lunch. And I was like, I don't even bother. And it's like way more veggies.
And he's gonna quite stricter on the fat. Like, he's like, no fat, you can't use any olive oil. You just, so I had to use my imagination on how to cook it. Because he's all about, because it's less calories, it's 200 less calories than I'd normally have.
That's what I was wondering. I was like,
so it's about squeezing as much calories into it, that 1800 as possible. Your brain has a built-in survival system to make sure that you get enough protein. If your protein is low, your brain will drive you to eat more calories until it passes that protein threshold. So what that means for high protein diets is you get a lot of the protein early, and once you pass that threshold, hunger plummets. And that is what's known as the protein leverage effect. In the Diogenes trial, after weight loss, when put on a high protein and low glycemic index diet, weight gain was almost completely eliminated, which goes completely against the face of every other diet studies. Most diets fail because people rebound. Protein looked like it just stopped it. In another study, after 3 years on a high protein diet, participants reported 20% less hunger. They had better appetite control, they had better health markers, and they had better weight stability. In other studies, increasing to a high protein diet meant the participants ate 400 less calories without even realizing it. They just got full and weren't hungry. High protein diets outperform other diets simply because they work with human biology rather than against it.
It's a new day today. What? You attacked my hand and then you meow at me like you're offended. One protein eater to another. Wow, those meals are filling. And I have to say, last night wasn't hungry, and I thought that I was like pretty much prepared to be like, look, it's the first 2 days of a diet because I'd kind of been eating bad with my birthday and everything, so I'm going to expect to be hungry. It doesn't really reflect on the diet because the first 2 days I'm always hungry and then things kind of calm down. I wasn't hungry. I didn't even think about food. It's interesting to me too because I did keto for 2 years, and I would have sworn when I did keto it was the low carbs that was like stopping the hunger, because the only thing that made me not hungry, and I would have sworn black and blue, it was the carbs. Now that I look back on it, I think it was just the protein, because I would have been having heaps of protein. And actually, I think there was times too where I found out that if you had too much protein on keto, that it actually caused your insulin to rise, so you didn't want to have too much protein. So when I lowered down the protein, you always get really hungry. And so now it all makes sense that in actual fact, this whole time, it wasn't actually the carbs, it was the high protein.
I have some 5% lean minced beef in the fridge, and I also have some red kidney beans in a can. One more wrap. The reason is because I just want to kind of finish off, like, this is the great thing about ChatGPT, is like I want to use some of the ingredients that I've got, like, yeah, so I'm basically saying, look, I kind of want to use these ingredients, but I want to use them for high protein. ChatGPT not only uses those ingredients, but will turn it into a recipe for you.
Not wanting to use fat because we're trying to do low fat, I'm just going to mix all my spices and my vegetable stock in here and use that as a sauce and get that cooking first, and then add the meat. Smoked paprika, cumin, a little bit of chili powder, and about a teaspoon of salt. That's what makes low fat cooking flavorful cooking. First, I'm going to add some veggie stock, and then I'll add some tomato paste, so just a nice thick sort of tomatoey sauce going pumping. I'm going to chuck in the spices. Right, now that's a nice sauce there, look at that. Then we add in the meat. Red kidney beans. Put on some salsa, some spinach, and then we'll put some meat on there. And there's the wrap, but we have to eat all this meat. We have quite a bit left over, so I'll just put this into a bowl. Some coriander on there. Also put coriander on the burrito. See, that's a lot. Look at that. And it's all low calorie. It's all because we're not having fat. The protein diet is all done. I've wrapped it up for the day. And so I ended up losing 6 pounds, pretty much, which is pretty impressive for 2 days. It's crazy, isn't it? The macros were pretty good. Like, I ate the 1800 calories, so I stuck to the calories. I had about 250 grams of protein, so whew, it was pretty good. I just really felt like I was on a diet because it's quite restrictive. I didn't realize the carbs were going to be as low as they were. I still thought I'd be having like a couple of slices of bread and some brown rice, but there wasn't enough room for that. So it's probably like enough room for that for one meal. So it did feel quite restrictive in that sense. So it definitely felt like a diet, which then triggers my emotional, like, I'm on a diet, oh my God, I need to eat part of my brain. But I did feel physically full. I definitely think it hits above its weight in terms of like making you feel full. Because I remember I was on 1800 calories, which is less than I normally eat, and I felt pretty full, you know?
If you've ever wanted AI to run your life the way I do, January is the perfect time to start. I'm running a starter month where we set your goals in week 1, then I'll introduce you to the exact systems I use to run my life with ChatGPT. It's built for beginners, but it's also a great New Year's reset if you're already doing this. I'll be using the new mylifeby.ai app and tools to guide everything. We start January the 1st. You'll need Patreon Grade 2 and Discord to join. A setup video will be waiting for you on Patreon, so there's no stress if you don't know how to use Discord. Links to the mylifeby.ai website, Discord and Patreon are all in the description. I'll see you there.
From the diet that gives me the most weight loss to the diet that is the most healthiest. And I want it to be the most healthiest across the board. Not just like this diet's exceptionally well at reducing heart disease, but nothing else. I want it to be able to be like that. If you're going to pick a diet that fixes most problems, this is the diet. If the goal is overall health, not just weight loss, not just one disease, the diet I'd pick from our list is the traditional Mediterranean diet. Not Mediterranean-ish, not Instagram versions. The pattern used in the Big Charles. Lots of vegetables, fruit, whole grains, legumes, nuts, olive oil as main fat, regular fish, little processed meat sweets, and modest dairy wine.
What? That was quick.
The next tool, far more vegetables, parsley, capsicums, more blueberries, pita bread, wholemeal, tomatoes, some pesto and some feta cheese, salmon, hummus, some canned tomatoes, some chickpeas, some nuts, some cauliflower and broccoli, some onions, some chicken. I'm actually feeling really hungry today, and I don't know what my protein is going to be. I guess I'll find out at the end of the day, but I'm very interested to see how hungry I'm going to be. All right, so I'm on my 5 kilometer walk. We're out in the mangroves, but tide's out, and I know that I mentioned to you earlier that whenever Jack's in a video, the views crash and no one wants to watch it. So I decided to bring out the big guns And that's his older sister, Madeline.
Hi.
Oh, it's like beautiful day, sunny as anything. As I was talking about all the hormones, the hunger hormones and the metabolic adaptation and all that I was talking about before, I feel like when you exercise, it fills your body with like those good hormones and good chemicals that just sort of balance out your hunger, make you feel more motivated. I feel like exercise is definitely underrated. I know that exercise mechanically doesn't help you lose weight much, because you could just do one walk and then go eat a sandwich and you'd basically have eaten the amount of calories you would have done by doing the walk. However, I don't think that's where the exercise helps. I think the exercise helps because it balances out your blood. It makes you feel good, releases all those happy neurotransmitters, all that kind of stuff. Bloody girl, she's walking so slowly and she's sweating like crazy and she's panting. It's like she's grown and she keeps having to stop. It's just really annoying. Here she is. Right over there. Mila, come to the camera, be a good girl. She's had lots of water. Oh, I'm back from the walk. Oh, it was hot, man. I like the heat, but that was almost a little too much and I'm boiling. So yeah, I'm having the Greek salad, Mediterranean. It's nice though, it's so hot. It's just these nice refreshing tomatoes, cucumbers and feta cheese.
When researchers search for the most reliable eating pattern for human health, the Mediterranean diet rises above everything we've studied, not because of one nutrient, but because of its whole pattern. It consistently appears in populations with the lowest rates of chronic disease. In the Pre-to-Med trial, one of the biggest nutrition studies ever run, the Mediterranean diet reduced major cardiovascular events by about 30%. Other trials show reductions in inflammation, better blood pressure, improved insulin sensitivity, and healthier liver fat levels. It also protects the brain, lower dementia rates, slower cognitive decline, reduced Alzheimer's risk. Cancer risk drops too, and overall mortality is consistently lower. And when scientists study regions where people routinely live into their 90s, the Mediterranean pattern is almost always there. It's not just about living longer, it's about living better, with less inflammation and more energy. And that's why when the goal is health, this is the diet that rises to the top. I'd had a solid day, about 2,200 calories, only 130 grams of protein, way lower than my usual high protein days, even with my normal diet. But I wasn't hungry, at all. So I researched why. And ChatGPT was like, whoa, soldier, 130 grams of protein is still pretty high, but turns out the Mediterranean diet doesn't control hunger with protein, it controls it with volume, fat, and fiber. And it just feels a lot less restrictive. The more good fats I ate, olive oil, fish, nuts, the more my appetite seemed to drop. These foods trigger hormones that suppress hunger and slow digestion, which is why Mediterranean meals feel light, but incredibly filling. And when I weighed myself the next morning, I'd lost about 1 kilo, 2 pounds, and only a little more the day after that. Less weight than the high protein diet for sure, but honestly, I definitely enjoyed this one a lot more.
Hello, sir. Here is your last Mediterranean meal. We're on the 5 kilometre walk. It's bloody hot, but the week has ended, and I've done my 48 hours of my Mediterranean diet and my high protein and low glycemic index diet.
So, which of those diets you've tried, which ones have you preferred?
The high protein, low glycemic index diet, I felt more like a diet. So I didn't feel hungry, but I felt mentally hungry because I felt more restricted, and it was just like a lot less carbs.
Yeah.
I felt less hungry, and it was 1,800 calories,
True.
right? The Mediterranean diet was like more calories, 2,200. So it was actually more calories than I normally eat, and it was less protein, but it was delicious.
Oh, yeah?
And I loved the food.
Yeah.
And at first I thought I was just going to go ravenous because the food was so good, but I didn't. And I actually felt just as full on the Mediterranean diet, if not maybe even a little fuller, but bearing in mind, I was having quite a lot of calories.
Okay.
I lost 6 pounds, which is like
This week?
just under, no, in 2 days.
In 2 days.
Yeah, on the high protein, low glycemic index diet. And I lost about 3 to 4 pounds on the Mediterranean diet. So it's less weight loss, but to be expected. So there's sort of two approaches I could take. The first approach would be I go on the high protein, low glycemic index diet. The calories come down, I have lots of protein, so I'm kind of on the steroids version of the diet that makes me feel really full, but it punches well above its weight in terms of hunger, so I lose a lot of weight, right?
Yeah.
Or I go on the Mediterranean diet, increase my calories, which sounds a little counterintuitive, but I enjoy it so much and I'd find it so easy to stick to, I might actually end up being more consistent on it. And so in the end, actually end up eating less calories because I'm not binging. Well, I did run it past ChatGPT, so I know the answer if you want to hear it.
Good. Okay. What is it?
The answer that ChatGPT said, which is kind of obvious in hindsight, we're going to increase your calories to 2,200 calories, and we're going to increase that with protein. So the protein is going to go up to 220 to 240 grams. So that way I get the benefits of a high protein diet. I don't lose muscle. I get really full, but I also feel like I'm eating heaps and I'm eating kind of like good Mediterranean. So you sort of eat like the whole slow burning carbs, but lots of them, lots of vegetables, kind of like the Mediterranean diet. But if I want to have Mexican, I just have the Mexican version with like beans and corn and cilantro and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, right. That makes sense.
And so he was like, so you'll still feel like you're having this really beautiful, full, rich diet, but you'll be more consistent because you won't go off it, and your hunger will be even lower because you're having all that protein. And that was what he decided.
Nice.
So I'm kind of excited. Be interesting. It's like the opposite, right? You're like, I've been plateauing lately and I've been struggling to lose weight. What should I do? And ChatGPT's basically said, increase your
That
calories.
is interesting.
Yeah.